Alrighty, welcome back. We are now starting up Game 2 between Robert Morris University and Rutgers University. We saw an impressive Game 1 coming out of Rutgers, taking the win at around 37 minutes. I am Zingle. Joining me once again is Hachiko and Gorgon.
Hey, what's up? We're back. And Ember banned from RMU.
They learned their lesson from last time. That Ember mid did make quite a performance, so they don't want to deal with it again. And especially because they first picked it last time, so it does, it warrants a first ban phase.
Yeah, Rutgers going with the exact same Shadow Demon ban as well. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Exactly.
Wait, I just realized RMU's the esports university. They have like a big esports
Yeah, they have a
division or
huge
something
esports
with,
program. They have, I think they have, not salaries, but full rides and tuitions, paid
scholarships.
scholarships for their players. I'm not sure if that same thing applies to the Dota squad. I know it does for the League of Legends squad, but maybe this is only, I think, Robert Morris's second year as a team for Dota 2. This is like, I think they only entered the Dota 2 aspect of college esports last year, so they definitely have some room to grow, but they are no team to be underestimated. Last game, they almost took it back, and with a couple more fights or, a few more minutes of farm, they could have won that game.
Yeah, they are. I think they made itemization decisions that made that game much harder than it needed to be, and they almost bought themselves enough time for those to come back.
Exactly.
They are going to get that starter that got banned against them last time, and they may have a signature starter player.
And they will 1-2 ban that Slark as well. As well as the Ember, because both of them, they could just be comfort picks, so may as well get rid of them and see if Rutgers has anything else up their sleeves.
Definitely go back to those, but keep in mind Rutgers has the Meepo up their sleeve as well, and we didn't see it come out because they definitely favor the Ember and the Slark over it. But maybe with those taken out, they will go back to it, surprising RMU once again with one of their comfort heroes. I believe WW does play that, so
Yep.
those have to switch their lanes. But with the Winter Raven come out in the first phase, Storm still that strong hero as well as a Meepo counter. It's definitely a possibility to come out in the second phase or even as a last pick if just Robert Morris doesn't see it coming at all.
As a prevention Meepo counter, you should say, because it is their team that is
Yeah,
looking to get
that's
the
what
Meepo.
I was meaning.
Slardar and Underlord being first picked. We saw these banned up last time. Slardar could be a 3 or 4, and as Gorgon was saying, it could just be a specialty for RMU. Underlord, I'm sad to see it go through because it is such a strong hero right now that it's kind of OP maybe, but we'll see if Robert Morris has a good response for it.
Yeah, Underlord is interestingly, in terms of pub plays, one of the only heroes to increase both in win rate and in pick rate through all play brackets until you get to the highest play bracket and have a higher than 50% win rate. It's him and Disruptor and maybe one or two other heroes, but those are the two most prominent. Oh, and Lone Druid.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Underlord very strong in lane, but everyone thinks the hero is super tanky, but that's only because of the Atrophy Aura. It is quite squishy if you have the right setup, and with Slardar, with Witch Doctor, both of these amplify that. The Maledict will burn right through Underlord's health pool, the Ultimate will burn right through the Underlord Strength Hero's low base armor, Slardar lowering that base armor even more. And if they look for a right-click carry like that Ursa who is banned out, or like Lifestealer who combos well with that minus armor, we could see a squishy Underlord.
Yeah, not to mention that Death Ward does not lose base damage, so even though you are used to taking a lot of physical damage out of the pool around you, Death Ward will surprise him for how hard it hits us, even without the amplified damage.
But also worth noting, they're picking this into a Winter Wyvern, who is the ultimate anti-physical damage hero, and that's already just two heroes on RMU that are solely physical damage. Not solely, but their strong suit is physical damage. So
pretty much so. You got Maledict.
Yeah, Maledict, and that's it. And the stun
paralyzing
damage.
cast.
So it's like 95% physical damage, at least for the bulk of it later on. They will ban out that second dragon from RMU, recognizing that combo was picked up last time by Rutgers. I am fine with that ban. It worked well last time, so once again, just ban out what beat them last game and force Rutgers to do something unfamiliar.
Yeah, or at least different.
Right. You know, it could be familiar to them, but it forces that out. And now the Lifestealer Band, a very common combo with that Slardar, does pretty good against Underlord, and if they just jump on the Wyvern at the start, that Cold Embrace won't really be doing too much, because they have the potential just to, like, two-hit the Wyvern.
Hey, what do you think about the Lifestealer versus Underlord, just
I love
matchup
it.
in lane?
I think it favors Lifestealer if Underlord does not get like a level 1, level 2 easy lane. If he has any support to help zone out the Underlord, Underlord can't do anything. And then once Lifestealer gets like level 3, level 4, gets one of those orbs or both of them, Underlord can't contest it anymore and just has to go to jungle.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind is that Feast and Open Wounds are not based on the base attack damage of Lifestealer. They're based on Underlord's HP, right? So the fact that Underlord, once again, very used to being tanky because of the way that he reduces damage around him, that's not going to be the case with Feast, especially.
Right. So Underlord only does well in that lane if he has a really good start or a support to help him out, like so he doesn't get zoned out. But in this case, they don't even want to bother. They realize that Underlord could be beaten by this Lifestealer, so just get it out of the pool quickly. And not only that, like I was saying, it combos with Slardar well.
Yeah, both the Ursa and the Lifestealer have a good combination with Slaughter. And one being able to take Rush, the other one having the gank ability.
And now ban here from Robert Morris, getting rid of that Juggernaut. I like it. With a healing ward backing up the Winter Wyvern and Underlord, it'll be very tough to get a kill. If they don't manage to burst somebody down within a few seconds, they'll have like 20 HP % health per second or something absurd like that. Plus the Underlord having, you know, mech and whatever other defensive item he gets.
It's the common like death push, I guess, strategy coming out with a lot of teams picking up the Underlord. You just get a Jug, and you win a lot of these early fights, and Underlord gets a bunch of damage with Attribute Aura. You just regen up all the damage you took from the fight with the healing ward and take down towers and towers and towers. So with their Jug taken out, though, Rutgers probably wanted that hero or something similar to that, but they will probably just replace it with another hero that does a similar thing. Maybe the Lone Druid. It's not touched, but they're just going to get a support first.
That Ogre Magi goes with anything that would replace the Juggernaut, right? It goes with Lone Druid, it goes with the Luna. Anything that's kind of like a pushy, damage-dealing right-clicker, Ogre Magi does fantastic
and
alongside.
It could be that D&E just loves heroes that have two heads. You know, played the Dragon, played the Jakiro last game, and now he's like, okay, it's the only one left, let's do it. And then who knows, he might also play Lone Druid. That's basically two heads, even though it's two bodies.
Does that mean that they play Techies? Because they have three heads together.
Oh,
is that one head
I would
many?
love to see...
Is
Techies enabled in Captain's Mode?
No, he's not.
Okay.
So. I'm just asking if they play him. I'm not asking if they're going to pick him.
Thankfully, he is disabled, but that is a hero I would love to see in the pro scene or in just these collegiate pro setting matches.
I had some bad techies experience yesterday. But, Pudge. I had to play against the Pudge techies yesterday, and Pudge is not a fun hero to play against.
So this is
just
actually
get out of position, and you just suddenly hooked.
This is shaping up to be a very different game than the one we saw last game. A Pudge Witch Doctor support combo from Robert Morris. I guess it fills a similar role to that Bounty Hunter, wanting to roam around, get those early kills, but a very different style of doing so. And then from Rutgers, we see an Underlord instead of a Timbersaw. Similar frontliner hero in that same sense, but does not really dive and kill quite as much. You're more of a defensive Underlord hero.
The Wraith King is an interesting pick. I mean, it fits their very aggressive style of play. It has quite a margin for error, and
you can build Blade Mail first.
Fulfill. You can build Blade Mail first, and it fulfills that like right-click necessity that we saw them wanting with potentially a Juggernaut, a Luna, or you're talking Lifestealer or whatever.
I do like the Wraith King pick. It also provides that second life, so if they do have a Slardar initiation with whatever other carry and they burst down this first life and commit all that to it, they will have to deal with a secondary wave of fighting. And it provides that early fight, but OD.
Was that OD literally just to try and deal with the Wraith King? Like, I'm not seeing a lot of other reasons.
It's actually pretty good against Wyvern as well. If you get Cold Embraced, you can just kind of burn down that hero anyway, steal all their mana. If you're against the Wraith King, you can obviously ruin that hero. Underlord is surprisingly not good at all against OD. Yes, you have the root, which can kind of keep him in place, but you can always imprison out of it or imprison just to buy time and walk out of it, and then you can just kind of burn him down and steal all of his intelligence as he does nothing in the fight.
And also, the OD Pudge combo. Don't forget about that one.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm actually a
But
pretty big
do
fan.
bear in mind,
Hook setup.
in terms of like raw stats, Underlord should, and I have not played Underlord since Dota 1.
Okay.
I'm not as familiar with him as I used to be before they added him in Dota 2, but I'm pretty sure that he's one of the heroes that has 2 base stats that are equivalent. His intelligence gain and his strength gain are exactly the same if I
I
remember correctly.
don't know if they're exactly the same anymore, but they're both pretty high at like 2.6, 2.4 maybe.
Okay, yeah,
we'll see when
something
the
like
game
that.
starts,
So,
but
the point being, his intelligence gain is pretty good, so you'd expect him in that sense to be decent against OD.
yeah. And he has a talent that gives him +2 mana regen, so I don't think he'll be running out of mana with all that intelligence and talent bonus. Another hero that we haven't seen because it often just gets banned, Lone Druid, has made a surge in the 7.0 meta with that new talent tree coming for him. It's a right-click build from the main hero for any of you who are not familiar, and to see it make it all the way to the 5th pick without getting banned up or picked by the other team is pretty rare. And I like it.
The slot art to help him out as well. The track provides the vision as well as the extra damage as well. It's a super long range. It is pretty scary. If you ever had a Slaughter Corrosive Haze on you and then a Lone Druid chasing after you running at like 500 move speed,
There's that
it's not a good time.
I love this Viper, but I also hate it. It's boring to watch if it's played just passively and slowly, but it is a good pick here. It does well against that OD matchup. It does okay against Lone Druid because if you just stop that main hero from running away, he can't really do anything.
Yeah, the Viper is an interesting hero in that it seems like with the current meta, he should do. He does really well against towers. He groups up pretty well. He is very difficult to lane against because he can orb walk. He's very physical damage based, so he can cut through a lot of the currently popular heroes like Luna and Ember Spirit, who don't deal so well with physical damage. One of the big downsides is he doesn't have a hard disable, but his win rate in pretty much everything, Pro Dota, Pub Dota, at all levels, is pretty atrocious.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do some introductions here now that the pause has come out at the start of the game, the good old Dota Pro pause before every game. We will see Storm sold out once again on this Winter Wyvern, Tissy MC on the Underlord offlane, DNE on the double-headed Ogre Magi, WWW on the Carry Wraith King, and SSR muted on the mid Viper.
All right, and for our RMU, tagged up appropriately this time on the dire side, we've got Sammy from another planet on Outworld Devourer. Loyal Lion is doing that voodoo he do so well on the Witch Doctor. Phantom Wilford is crashing about on the Slaughter. Shibby is playing Lone Druid with a little help from his spirit friends, and BDV is rodding on the Pudge.
Alrighty. So, matchup I don't think I had enough time to talk about, but this Lone Druid versus Underlord matchup actually isn't that in favor of Lone Druid until he hits level 5. If Underlord just goes a shield, maybe a full poor man shield, the bear and the hero just kind of tickle him, and then he can stand and wave, and using that Firestorm, because it does do a % damage burn, will kind of just make the bear not able to stand there and tank it like he normally would.
How much does the hook rot potential threat hurt Underlord here? Because he does not have a traditional escape as an offlaner. He's very weak in that way.
It does
the
hurt.
physical damage isn't really that much, as you mentioned, until level 5 with the root coming out of the bear.
That is a big kill potential actually onto this Underlord, because you're not a very fast hero, despite having, like, most four-legged heroes are pretty quick. Having 305 base speed isn't particularly great, and with that rot lowering it down by 30%, he'll be moving at like 200 speed. So
well, the deal is he doesn't have 4 legs. He's got 4 misshapen nubs.
Oh, that's
why he's
true.
not super
That's
fast. All the
issue.
other 4-legged heroes are like deer.
No,
and
so he has
horse and-
4 arms. It looks like his front legs are actually
6 arms. Yeah.
Or 6 arms, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 6 arms and a tail.
Shibby here sending in his bear, trying to get that steal. Will he get it? He does not. So bear will just take a little bit of harass and get out. That'll be a normal 2-for-2 runes. Another matchup, this mid, I think I did mention it, but this Viper should win this matchup, but with that Pudge being a constant nuisance, Viper also being a very slow hero. If you get hooked on this Viper, you have no escape. You're almost guaranteed to be killed.
Yeah,
Punch has no regen. He's banking on a first blood here or something so he can get his tranquils.
yeah. Well, there's also if he screws up one gank attempt, he can.
He has the shrine, of course.
Yeah, that shrine for roaming supports, especially for supports like Pudge that tend to take a lot of damage as they roam. That change has been absolutely huge.
However, it looks like Slaughter is opting to go a Iron Talon though, so he's going for a more defensive build, being able to go back in the jungle if he needs to. And he's going to be zoned from the first creep wave, not getting any experience. Actually, only getting one creep of experience.
This Pudge has literally just given up his first full minute and a half of experience and gank potential just to block this wave a little bit.
And I was about to say maybe he's going to do some mid lane creep pull with his hook, but he is Rot skilled level 1, so not going to happen.
He wanted to get the equilibrium right so he could sneak around behind with the Rot, but that is a lot of give for a potential equilibrium.
However, as you say that, he is smoked up behind the creep wave. Ogre does show, so that might dissuade him a little bit, but it also might give Viper some false confidence here. That ward might have scouted him out.
Yeah, it did.
And now Sammy actually has to be a little bit careful. He's sitting low health, and this Viper does have a lot of early damage potential. Viper will be beat
very fired though. They found a kill.
Wow, and
is this going to be a double? I think Pudge is fine dying here as long as it gets his mid that double kill. And now this OD is big.
Level 2 Astro Imprisonment. He had enough range for that one.
I'm not sure if that was a lack of map awareness or what, but that Pudge was definitely scouted by this ward. 100%. They could have known he was there. They should have known he was there. There's no way that kill should have happened.
The Viper didn't realize how much range was on the Astral. He got caught with that. He definitely knew Pudge was there, but the Astral caught him out off guard.
Well, the Ogre also was a little out of place. It's not just on, like, there were two heroes there, and the Ogre
he felt like he was stronger because he had a teammate there.
Sammy might go down here.
Oh,
yeah, I think he will.
Rotating mid, he'll find the counter.
Viper's in a very good spot. He walks right up that hill. I don't necessarily like how he's maxing his poison attack, just because the scaling from level 1 to 2 is 10% slow and 6 damage, whereas if you were to get his corrosive skin or nether toxin up more, those scale a lot better. But he gets the kill anyway. He gets a return kill, catches him right back up for the most part.
Yeah,
I feel like this is kind of standard Viper build though. I see a lot of people go for 2 points in poison attack.
Yeah,
and there will be a hook onto Viper. Viper will get a return kill onto the Pudge, but will go down immediately. Witch Doctor just coming to secure it. Meanwhile, top lane, this Underlord has not been harassed out of lane at all. He is level 4, and if you compare that to the jungling Slardar, who just hit level 3, this Underlord is pleased with how this is going.
Yeah, I think she might be going just hit level 4 build, because he is building Midas.
Yeah, Lone Druid is actually under or lower level than this Underlord.
When you started talking, Lone Druid was still level 3.
So this is very rough lane top. This is a lane that they could have dedicated a lot to stop this Underlord early, but now that he has his levels, now that he has multiple points in Firestorm and he can just nuke down a wave, he is sitting high and mighty, and he is farming pretty well, actually. If you compare him to his mid lane, he's only 2 CS behind that Viper.
Yeah, we talked about the threat of the rot magic damage and the pure damage from meat onto that Underlord, but once you get a couple levels into him, especially if he's out leveling and killing bears, as he just did, for 300 bonus gold, the Pudge can't stand in a Firestorm and rot that guy to death. The Pudge will die too fast.
And if you look at the net worth, this Underlord is
Pudge is going to die here, too. He's being chased by 2 supports. The Ogre Magic going up on the high ground. A nice crush will get him out of dodge. He turns back for a hook onto the Wyvern.
Might get him
killed. But that's just going to kill him. Wow.
A little bit of greed there. The Cold Embrace will come out, but Sammy's just going to steal some intelligence. He's going to waste a lot of mana, but will secure a kill. Now with stun coming out onto the Ogre, that's going to be another hero going down. So they lost Pudge, but they lost 2 for it. And this Sammy guy is 3-1-2 already at 5 minutes. He's getting a lot of kills, but not necessarily a lot of last hits.
Hey, if you get enough kills, you don't need the last hits to back it up, right? It's all about net worth is what it comes down to. Net worth and experience. He's in the lane for these. He just needs a couple kills. Nice hook.
We see the combo set up.
And it's easy. This Viper is going down.
That's a rough lane for a Viper. Normally, yes, 1v1, you would be doing well against OD, but with these supports rotating so much, they are sacrificing their top lane, but this Viper is suffering a lot. I don't think it's overall a good idea for RMU, however, because Underlord, he's level 6, he has Arcane Boots, he got a bear kill, and Shibi is not farming as well as this safe lane solo Wraith King.
And both of them are going for Midas. And we didn't really mention this in the draft phase because the Wraith King actually got picked before the Lone Druid, but Wraith King is one of the counters that a lot of teams pick to counter Lone Druid, as he does have the 5% or was it double crit or something on the bear?
Oh, that's true. You have an extra double damage, or no, yeah, basically you get double crit on your crit
500%, yeah, 500% at
So-
max level.
So once this hero starts hitting and you're critting for 1,000 damage onto the bear, it is pretty much a non-factor in the fights. And it's a nice lifesteal source too. When you have 30% Vampiric Aura lifesteal and you're critting for 1,000, it's nice sustain there. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it looks like Viper will be trying to get a kill there, but it will be a perfect setup once again for that same combo of the hook out of the Astral Imprison. So another kill going their way. Now 4-1 and 3 mid lane on OD. Only has 20 CS, but, you know, in net worth, he is still sitting near that top spot.
And Viper having a really rough game now. He's been pretty much tri-laned mid, and all of RMU's attention have been placed on him.
Which is really, it's working out for their OD, but it's kind of a questionable play because that Viper is not going to be. Usually, a Viper is not the biggest threat for your team, right? The Viper is the damage dealer to towers. He finishes off a lot of kills, but he's not the hero that you go, oh, well, we lost that game because they had a Viper.
Right.
We lost the game because they had a super farmed Wraith King, and the Viper had sustain in the back line. But he can still do that if he's underfarmed, if the Wraith King is sufficiently farmed and the Underlord is sufficiently farmed.
And a big problem here is not only the Wraith
He's
King.
having the funnest lane top as well.
TCMC will be ganked by 3, but he's already level 7. He has his ultimate, and he's just gonna go right out of there. He doesn't care about this gank.
So now, interestingly,
Oh, mid.
Sorry.
He'll get the turnaround and
Detours.
kill Sammy.
What were you saying?
so I was going to say, interestingly, that Pudge just narrowly didn't have enough mana for a hook, but if he did, he could have backed off that Underlord. If you hit the hook at the start of that animation, the Underlord will teleport before the last frame of Pudge's hook, and the hook will pull him back. It's one of the only actual counters to that escape, right? Because you can't interrupt it.
Mhm.
Once it's activated, but the hook can actually pull him back from his final destination if you time it
You
right.
have to have some godlike timing for that, though.
Yeah, it's
You have
it's tough.
about I would say you have about a quarter of a second of leeway one way or the other. So
That's
you've got
not
like
too
half a
awful.
second around. Yeah, I mean, there are harder combos to execute that people have executed. right?
Meanwhile, Wyvern
Like,
goes for that top invis rune, gets hooked, but luckily it was an invis, so he gets away safely.
it's basically the exact same timing window that you had for the Chen fountain hooks, and we saw how Navi did fine with that in 2013.
That's true. So with this, we're going to see a pretty big lead for the safe lane out of Rutgers. This Wraith King is sitting over 1,000 ahead, or about 1,000 ahead of the opposing carry Lone Druid. And as I say that, actually, this Lone Druid is going to be being dove by this Underlord, and that might be a solo kill, no. The Savage Orb will come out and scare off the Underlord. 100 health left on Shibi, and he's going to have to waddle back, probably heal up at a shrine.
And we said this before, but Chibi is actually just going the regular Lone Druid build with the Radiance Bear most likely, because he does have a Midas. You don't really go that build with the ranged form, because you want to get the early items up, the Dragonlance and other things like that, Aquila. But against a Wraith King, if he's just going to go Radiance and Wraith King is just going to stun and lock down his bear, kill it very quickly, it's going to be even worse than if he just went the range build here. So interesting decision for him to decide to go for that.
Great farm coming out of this Wraith King, though. That early Midas pickup is going to get him close to an almost normal timing on his armlet. Normally you'd want to see it around, 8, 9, 10 minutes. And it's approaching that 10-minute mark. And he's already got about half of it done. And with a
He's going
tower
to be able
kill
to
or a
farm
kill.
so fast with the Bloodlust from the Ogre as well as the max crit.
Mhm.
He can just cleave through the jungle once they get to that point as well, very quickly.
So this is shaping up to be a pretty strong lead and a pretty strong early game coming out of Rutgers. It just comes down to the question of if they will be able to commit to it and snowball off of this and not dive fountain like they did last game and throw away this lead.
I will point, they are playing much more carefully this game. Maybe it's because they haven't gotten the momentum on their side quite yet, but last game, even at this stage, they were being pretty aggressive. And this game, it seems like they're being more methodical. As I say that, Wraith King way too far ahead.
Yeah, he gets the tower, but there's an instant rotation from a haste OD here. A lot of intelligence
has a lot
stolen.
of int. However, Wraith King still does have his ultimates.
Oh, wow.
Oh
That
my.
last right click leaves him at 10 health, and this Wraith King is just going to waddle away. He is losing almost all of his intelligence. He only has a total pool of 290. But he won't die. He won't have to expend that long cooldown on his ultimate. And that's definitely a win for Rutgers, the fact that there's such a huge commitment out of RMU that didn't actually pay off.
Yeah, the ult is still available for Wraith King, and I mean they slowed him down a little bit, but he was gonna fall back to the jungle after that wave anyway. So
yeah.
basically, they cost him a couple of creeps.
Alright, he's like two-shotting the Satyr Banisher there. He's farming very quickly.
Gets down to 10 health, doesn't even go back to base, just goes right into jungle and heals up.
Look at his that's a significant amount of healing. Just only 1 point in Vigor at this point.
He's not
Half HP
pseudo-random
now.
manipulation jungle farming though. Like you'll farm like 15 to 30% faster if you spam 6 or 7 attacks right at the beginning after every crit, just because you'll crit more often.
I guess, yeah.
way
The math
PRD
probably does
works.
work out for that.
It works out, yeah. Like you end up costing yourself the attack time of 1 or 2 attacks, but you get
A
lot more
500% crit that
Yeah,
is worth that
exactly.
1 or 2 attacks.
So he could be farming faster. Little trick
Yeah.
for y'all.
Interesting stuff. I did not know
Oh,
that.
boy.
Meanwhile, top lane, a Purge creep will be there, and they will catch out this Lone Druid farming that camp. With this 4-man rotation, Viper's just getting mid, but this 4-man rotation, they will get 3 kills already, and a Wyvern ult securing this OD here. Looks like Wraith King will... No, he actually won't go down. He has a lot of health left. And that's going to be a 4 for 0. Viper is also just kind of poking at that mid tower. Will get that tower. And
Yeah, okay. Things went pretty well, but
Yep.
on the plus side, Pudge did deny himself, so it's not all bad.
So sorry, it's
not
a
all
3
bad.
for 0 then. But 2 towers going down, and this Wraith King winning a fight with a Midas. That's a rough spot to be in if I was RMU.
And his ult is level 2, and he's not gonna use it once yet.
And now the top 3 net worths all in favor of Rutgers here. This Wraith King far in the
Viper's
lead.
Pooped all over again. But
Yeah.
SSR dead once again.
Same thing that happened to the Wraith King bottom, but this Viper didn't really have an escape or any backup from his team, so he will go down.
I mean, the poor guy has been absolutely the sounding board for the comeback of RMU all game long.
He is
He
5
is the
out of their
vulnerable
8.
hero.
He is 5 out of
Yeah.
RMU's 8 kills.
He is sacrificing himself so that the other lanes go really well, though, right? Like that sacrifice made it so Underlord's lane was.
Oh, whoa. WW finding Sibby in the jungle and taking
Oh.
him down very low. Savage Roar is gonna save him though.
He will be in a very bad spot, though. Chased by 5 heroes. The stun won't be there, actually, and there's no bash and no hook. And
It's
5
not leveled. There's no
Yeah.
bash leveled.
Which
it's all sprint and
isn't
crush.
too rare to see, but still you should at least get 1 point just for that
It's pretty
chance.
rare at level 9, I'd like to think. Like, a value point in that bash is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, just having the possibility... If that bash stops 1 TP 1 time before level 11, it was worth it.
Yeah. Well, off of that, we will see the score being 8-8 in kills, but the towers will be 3-0 in favor of RU, and now they're going to be poking at this tier 2 mid. They have all of Rucker here, so they are committed for it. And I don't
This
think
little
they're...
Satyr Banisher running around.
And that creep is no joke. That purge is
It's
strong.
annoying as hell, yeah.
Yeah.
It removes the corrosive haze as well.
Yeah. This dive coming in, they will try to get OD. OD will be low. Witch Doctor will die in the back lines. The hook will come out point blank, but he will actually just die to this Wraith King. Wraith King will lose his first life for the first time in the game, but off of that, Shibby will go down. Slardar will just slither away with 300 health, and that's going to be a tier 2 and a 4 for 0 trade.
So it looks like Shibby is going for the ranged build with his talent, but interesting decision to decide to go for the Midas there. It's gonna help him keep up and farm, but as you saw last game, I feel like it was just a bit too greedy against how Rutgers plays. OD going for Midas as well, and at this point, even though the Wraith King does have a Midas, he's received absolute free farm, so his timing on his armlet, as well as his second item after that, is not really delayed in any sense.
Yeah, this
well,
is...
it was delayed. Like, he would have had that armlet up at like 7 minutes.
Right.
But compared to the item timings for Chibi and Sammy, both of whom went Midas as well and got it later, his item timing is ahead of schedule.
WWW will be caught a little bit too deep here and will go down to like the entirety of RMU here. So a little bit of a swing in favor, a little bit of a hope for RMU, but at the same time they're going for this desperation double Midas play. They're just hoping that they don't lose in the next 5-10 minutes. I don't know. That one kill, it's something, but it's still not game-changing at this point.
I mean, if you're going to double in on that Midas, you might as well get 2 on the Lone Druid as well, right?
Oh god, I'd be sad if I saw that. Yes, it works having one on the hero and the bear, but you're committed 4,000 gold this early on. I hope he doesn't.
They are going to try to find themselves an OD. OD does have some time by. Is going to buy himself a little bit of time. The
he has no force yet to get himself out, so...
But it's not going to be enough.
He walks into the curse so he doesn't take that extra right click from Viper. Now he's ticking super low, but I don't think there's any way he gets out of this.
Oh!
The hook just barely misses, hits the Underlord instead. So
the Underlord
OD
has
will go
greaves
down.
though, so he's not going to die here.
And now it'll just be a 1-for-0 trade. Underlord using his ult. Maybe they want to escape here.
Yeah,
he's only taken some of his
low
team.
With the Maledict.
Yeah, he only took some of his team though.
No part of that.
Oh no, Satyr Banisher.
Poor Satyr.
Oh, poor guy. That Satyr Banisher was so important to them that they sent it back to the fountain instead of using it to lift amp or corrosive haves. After that last fight, where I pointed him out,
Gotta
they
heal
sent him
up.
all the way back to the fountain to heal.
That's funny.
Which is
I'm
like
surprised they didn't go
good
for
read.
2 Helmet of the Doms this game. You see that a lot coming out of a lot of teams now, is you can get the Satyr Banisher or the Alpha Wolf plus the Ogre Creep, which is really strong as well.
But that's the thing that I'm thinking, right? Like, the Satyr Banisher is good, but they're not using it to lift corrosive haze very frequently, and they don't really need the control, because they have a lot of slows and a lot of stuns. Every one of their hero has a slow or a stun, or both. So, probably the extra attack speed, just to knock down the towers faster, especially considering the Viper is a bit under-farmed, so the extra attack speed could be really valuable to get that Nether Toxin damage out onto the tower. Seems like the right call to me.
So, try not to be too pessimistic here. We do have a glimmer of hope from RMU. There is a Blink Slardar out. OD is getting close to his 4-staff here, so he won't be going down in these fights quite as easily, and there are the Midases up. So, if...
Slaughter had his Blink quite early as well.
Yeah. So, if RMU does make 1 or 2 more okay holds like they have these past 2, getting the pick-offs on that Wraith King when he's out and about doing his own thing, they could come back into this game pretty nicely still. The cores don't necessarily match up great against Rutgers cores, but I do think they scale, into the ultra late game very well.
Yeah, if this goes ultra late, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I would be prone to saying RMU has a pretty sizable advantage there, but Underlord does give you such global potential for one fight, suddenly the game's over, that really still anything can happen.
Yep, and Rutgers takes an extremely fast Roshan there, with Wraith King being maxed Mortal Strike, having the Ogre Bloodlust. The crit does amplify its damage, considering Roche is a neutral creep, so that Roche goes down in a matter of seconds, and now with that Aegis, they are looking to push here, having a double life on Viper and the
Bye-bye, Fat Man.
What? Oh,
they
Viper.
know you're there. You better run.
Oh, they don't have a stun though for him, so. Well, they do, but they just didn't catch him in time.
Yeah.
And
they didn't know exactly where he was, and I assume that they just guessed that he TP'd out.
I have to predict that RMU sacks this tower and does not commit to a fight here. It is not in their favor to fight at that tier 2 because it's basically a high ground fight for them.
Yeah.
And off of that, actually, they're just going to go right into the base. Rutgers wants to get this advantage. They will instantly blow up that Witch Doctor, but he will get imprisoned by OD. He is still only at 200 health though, so a double crit from, or double hit from this Wraith King using that Echo Saber will secure that kill.
Yeah, and this is going to be a tower. They're waiting for the Pudge to get a good hook, but the Wraith King is not the hero you wanted.
Yeah, you do
Pudge,
get that 1 life off of him, but you get slowed on 2 of your heroes. They don't get any sort of follow-up on the back lines. The tier 3 does go down, and now that bear does not look long for this world. He is being hit, slowed down. He is almost a, low half health, but he'll be fine. And now Pudge just needs another.
The Viper or the Wyvern with a hook. This
Viper has Aegis still.
Oh, that's a good point.
So
if they
need
the Wyvern with a hook.
Exactly, and that's a tough ask considering this Wyvern's positioning. They do get a Blink Stun from Slardar here. They get a good fight. They get the kill onto the Ogre using the OD Sanity Eclipse. However, they lose Witch Doctor, they lose Pudge, and now it looks like Slardar just going to go down to the poking from Viper.
Alright, that crit on the bear. 1,000 damage. That's a dead panda.
Underlord just narrowly gets out here. WWW is actually going back in. He has the armlet. The hook will actually just relocate onto that creep right there. And now Pudge walks in, gets killed instantly. That is 3 dead, no buybacks. Witch Doctor will be spawning in a second, but that's a full set of racks going down.
They can just TP back. They still have Underlord Soul.
Yeah.
So they can all just TP back, heal, and be right back
TP
in the
back,
base.
I guess. That's what he's going to do. Ogre's going to channel his TP, though.
Yeah.
And head to the shrine instead.
So Viper still has Aegis. Viper's just kind of running in. No fear in the world. He's actually 1 hit away from killing the OD there, and OD does go down. Has buyback.
Ah!
Witch Doctor here will be channeling a full duration ultimate, but Viper just kind of kills him. No big deal. The kill onto the back lines. Once again, Shibby is going to go down here. No, Shibby has 80 health and is ticking down to the Viper's corrosive skin, but Wraith King does die. His ultimate was used earlier in that fight due to Pudge's hook, so somewhat of a hold coming out here from RMU.
Yeah.
They do get 2 kills, and now with the Aegis going down, it might be a kill onto Viper.
Too far.
Right into TCMC. Has the Greaves to save his team, has the Pit of Malice and Firestorm. Now that's going to be 2 kills just going right back in favor of Rutgers. And Underlord has 110 bonus damage, 115. So with Bloodlust and all that bonus damage, this base will actually still just crumble.
So what item could possibly be so important that you're... Oh, they're going to call GT.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the Lone Druid had buyback here, but he decided to buy an item instead.
And
It was
Rutgers
his
is showing us.
Ring of Health.
Rutgers is showing us how good they are.
Ring of Regen.
Last week they pleasantly surprised us, and now they show us once again it was no fluke. I think this is the 2nd or 3rd time we've seen them just, dominate. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it was on their Facebook group. They were salty about that first loss, and they're definitely showing their strength once they're back into form as they enter the 2nd season here. Not dropping a game after their first loss.
Yeah, that was they showed a lot more discipline in game 2 as well. Like game 1 was they almost threw it to the wind. It really required Storm Soldat to pull them back from the brink. But game 2, at no point in time did I feel like the whole team is just going wild.
Honestly, this team reminds me a lot of my team last year, whereas we'd just be the kind of that all-in aggressive clowniness in those early games, and then if we'd ever face any sort of hesitation or trouble, we'd just pull it back, tone it down, and show them, what's up. And this team has that kind of skill potential. All of their cores and supports are just playing out of their mind this game. 3-0-8, 5-2-7, 11-5-7. Even though that Viper had such a bad start, he ended up having the most kills. I'm impressed by this team, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Who are we gonna give the MVP or the play of the match? That's the question.
Oof. I want to give it to Storm Soldat again because of his plays in both of these games, but WWW is like the unsung hero here. He doesn't have the most kills in either games. He doesn't have the most assists, but he's kind of...
Alright, there's a couple moments that stand out to me. That sick kill bot, we actually probably missed it on cam, I think, but I caught it where he found that solo kill onto the Void with the Blade Mail. That was pretty sick. That might be deserving of a play of the match. But also, keep in mind that aggressive buyback coming from SSR in that first game really allowed them to take the racks as well as just dive pull for a good 5 minutes.
Yeah, the Ember buyback where he zipped back in.
Yep, that one.
2 heroes.
SSR then?
Yeah, I think if we're doing a banned gaming moment of the match, yeah, I would say definitely that would probably be it for me. No, you know what? For me, it would be the moment where you had that dire jungle Wyvern ult that turned that game back into an easy win. I would say that that's it for me. Although the buyback was very nice as well.
The speed that he executed that, where he didn't hesitate at all, knew that if he could buy back and go back in, he would be able to clean up, and just that unrelenting aggression coming out of him, showing his dominance pretty much was pretty impressive. But definitely I agree with that Winter Wave Renault as well, as it was what actually allowed them to end up closing the game.
Can we be flaky and give it to both of them? Can I do
All right,
that?
How about we just give one person the MVP, the other person the moment?
So our band gaming MVP of the match is obviously Storm Soldat. His positioning is awesome as a support, but our band gaming band together moment of the match is of course going to be Ember buyback into a double kill, of course, with some support from his team, and then the subsequent farming of
fountain diving.
All right. Well, with that, I will have to say thank you, you two, for sticking around and casting with me today. I am Zingle. Joining me was, once again, Hachiko and Gorgon. And that will be a 2-0 win for Rutgers in their Week 11 match against RMU. Thank you, everybody,
for watching. See you guys later.
Yep, thank you, everybody, for watching. And considering Band Gaming has been so much from us, we will give them an ad before we go. So enjoy the ad. We will see you later. Enjoy.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.